Hi, I'm Montana with Wilderness Voyageurs, and I'm going to show you how to change a flat tire on one of our rental Kona Dr. So the first thing to do when you get a flat is obviously to take the wheel off. To do that, first you want to shift the bike into the smallest cog, so that's your hardest gear. So, click your shifter, let all the cable tension out, then just pick your bike up, pedal it into that smallest cog. And then on this bike, this has a mountain bike rear derailleur with a clutch, which holds the chain very tight. So you need to push forward on this bottom pulley. Push forward, and then there's a little lock button here. So push that in, and then you can let it go. And that'll take all the tension off your chain, which makes it much easier to get the wheel out. Next step is to open your quick release. So take the lever here and just flip it. You don't need to spin it at all. And then you can pick up the bike. The wheel will drop out. Just guide it out. You can set your wheel off to the side, and then you want to set your bike down, drive side up. So that means derailleur facing the sky, because if you set it down on the drive side, you could damage the derailleur. That's the most fragile part of the bike. So the next step is to let all the remaining air out of your tire. So open up the valve. That's the little nut here. Unscrew it the whole way. And just kind of squeeze the air out of your tire. Now we need to get the tube out. So the trick here to doing this without a tire lever is to unmount the tire the whole way. So what you're doing is taking the bead. The bead is the rubber edge of the tire, and you're pushing it towards the center of the rim. So the first thing you do, go the whole way around, just squeezing the bead towards the center and demounting the tire. Okay, next, you're going to pull back on the bead with both hands. So pull back, and then you can kind of just get your fingers under it, push it over the edge of the rim. You only need to get one side of the bead over. And then just take your hand and take the bead off the rim. And you can leave one side on. Pull your tube out. Before you put a new tube back in, you want to take your hand very, very carefully, feel along the inside of the tire. You're looking for a thorn or a piece of glass or whatever caused the flat. So you just need to look and feel, and if you do it slowly and carefully, you won't cut yourself. Then you're ready to put your new tube back in. So it helps to have just a little bit of air in the tube. So with the Presta valve, which are the skinny type valves, you can actually blow it up a little with your mouth. Just to get a little bit of air in it, and that'll keep the tube from getting twisted inside the tire and pinching. Drop the valve stem in the hole. And then just stuff the tube into the tire the whole way around. And then you want to remount your bead. So just take both hands, pull the bead over until it snaps down into the rim, and just do that the whole way around. You can use your thumbs as well. The last part's usually the hardest, but if you're having any trouble at all getting that back on, you just need to make sure that you're dropping the bead the whole way into the center of that rim channel again, because that's where the tire's loose. So we have our tire back on. get into our flat pack, get a CO2 cartridge, and a CO2 inflator. Screw them together. You have to screw it together pretty hard till the inflator punctures the cartridge. And then on this inflator, we're just going to put it on the valve and push it, and that'll do the inflating. So kind of brace your hand back here, put your inflator onto the valve. And that's it. Just make sure that you get all the CO2 out of the canister. And then you want to make sure that you shut your valve. And when you're using this, you might want to keep your gloves on or use a sleeve, because the CO2 cartridge does get very cold. So the last step is to make sure that our bead is mounted the whole way. So there's a little indicator line you can see around the edge of the tire. So just go around, make sure the line is visible. You can see right here that the tire is not mounted the whole way. So you can just grab the tire, kind of pull it back. That'll pop the bead out. Now we want to put the wheel back in our bike. Pick the bike up carefully and make sure you don't bang the derailleur. Then you're just going to pull back on the derailleur. Get the chain back on that smallest cog. And then you'll have to guide the disc brake rotor back into the disc brake caliper. So you just need to look down the brake pads, make sure you have it lined up, and then it'll drop right down. Last step is to close our quick release. Remember, it's not a wing nut, so you don't spin it shut. Just take the lever, close it. There should be a fair amount of resistance. Push forward on the pulley to release the clutch. And then there we go. We're all set.